The three of us were meant to be together. The three of us just have a spiritual connection that I can't explain, but comes across in the music, and I think comes across in who we are as men. You know, we don't fight among ourselves. There's no harsh words. There's no, drug or alcohol abuse problems. There's no anything problems with us. And so a lot of people may find that kind of boring, but for us it's pretty exciting because we are still progressive rocker musicians at heart. And so we're out here just doing the type of music we like and finding, I think, a bigger and bigger audience that's willing to listen to the message, because modern music is pretty tough on people nowadays. I have to tell you, when we talk about playing in clubs, it's not like 70s and 80s when we used to do it for a living and just play. It was a bar, we were entertainment. When we go pretty much anywhere anymore, be it a club, be it a church, be it a venue like, Fourth Friday, what we do is try to play now for the benefit of somebody or something else. We don't go in looking to make a name for ourselves. We don't go in looking to try to generate cash for ourselves. We play for the benefit of others. So when we play a nightclub, a rock and roll bar, it's usually for me, for Wounded Warrior Project or something similar to that. If it's for somebody trying to do cancer funds, if it's somebody who's getting booted out of their house because they can't afford to pay rent anymore, we will step up and play for things like that if we think our being there will generate interest and support like that. The rock and roll clubs, it's always for a benefit. We just don't go in and play just because, hey, it's us, it's Sweet Crystal, why don't you come out and drink and enjoy our life? No, we go out because there's a reason to be there, and by us being there, it's the stuff we believe in, Detroit Rescue Mission, that kind of thing. So we will do benefits for them. But I have to say the biggest thing on our hearts are the veterans, the Wounded Warrior, the Vet Fest that we belong to, that we do shows like that every year. So that's a big push for us. It's just to support our men and women and the families that support them as much as we can. You don't have to believe in the war, but you've got to believe in the warriors. And so that's kind of what we do. It's interesting. We started out as a cover band, of course, and now it's 90% originals. But we do some cover tunes, and we do them in a way that we call them crystallized. So if we play one at an event where you come up, it may take a moment or two before you realize what it is you're listening to. We basically take some noticeably famous songs and turn them into stuff that we like playing, but that the message doesn't dilute or go off on a tangent from what we're trying to do. I mean, we do a cover tune of a Motley Crue song and a Beatles tune. So, those are two different sides of the musical universe, but they fit well with who we are and what we're doing. And like I said, we crystallize it, so it'll take you a second to go, do I know this song? Do I know this song? Usually by the time you get to the chorus, you can sing along. Mm-hmm. But so it's a lot of fun. So we do covers, but mostly it's original. We have a way of working on new material where we get together on weekends and just put the CD burner on and we jam. And we just record everything that we do, and then at the end of the night I just make a copy for everybody, send them home with it, and say, sit back someday, listen to it, and see if there's anything there we can develop. And I have to say we've got lots of hours of undeveloped stuff because nobody has time to go back and listen to it. So we hope we remember it the next week, but usually we don't. So we have to throw it on and go, what was that chord pattern? Can't remember, but here's a new one. So I have to say our writing is a little less disciplined than it probably should be. It's hard to finish songs for us sometimes because we get off on so many different tangents. But that being said, we got a ton of stuff to go back to and go, oh man, this is cool. We should work this one into something. Actual releases, 3 full releases. Mm-hmm. I recently have uncovered 3 or 4 actual vinyl 45s from the 70s that I guess were releases, but the reason I found those, I found a website overseas that was selling one of our 45s for $365 for a 45 that got released in 1974 or 75, which amazed me that it even existed over there or that anybody would pay $300 for it. So I unearthed a case of those things in my basement. I said, you know what, I'm going to find this guy. I said, I got a whole lot of these for $300. I'd be more than happy to sell you. So, oh, that's funny. I just think that's hilarious. So it's 3 full things. We're working on the 4th. We have a tendency to go about 10 years between releases, so this time we're trying to kick ourselves a little faster in the studio because I really don't want to release this when I'm 70. Well, it's all God. That's all I have to say. Everything about our life, whenever we take the reins of where we are and what we're trying to do, I have to say it really goes nowhere quick. It amazes me, and I just think, man, isn't this what we're supposed to be doing? And then you let go a little bit, and God will continually point you in the direction you're supposed to be. And it's almost always different than what I would have expected, and it's always so much better than how I thought it was going to turn out. So, at this point in our lives, it's just, we just wait on the Lord and keep doing what we're doing, and doors keep opening, and I think we're doing it right. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a Jesus freak movement, is what people were basically called. Jesus saves, and they threw it up in your face when I was in high school and early college, saying, this is the way, this is all there is, otherwise you're going to hell. And that turned me off. Before I became a believer, it turned a lot of people off. And I think for the type of audiences and stuff that we play a lot for, you can't just hit them over the head with that fact. The fact is there in the music, but what you do is present them with a storyline that shows, the hopelessness to the hope. And all of a sudden, they'll come up. And that's what kind of gave us a little bit of encouragement when we were changing over from secular to Christian, is that we would have clearly inebriated people coming up to us at the end of a show going, hey man, are you talking about God? And that would open the door for you then to give your testimony, for you to talk about it. And so that's kind of the way we look at it. We don't hide that we're a Christian band. We just come in and pretty much people just think of us as a rock band, and by the time you're done listening to a set of our stuff, it's pretty darn blatant, the fact that we're just talking about God. What's interesting this year about winning the Detroit Music Award for Outstanding Gospel Christian Act, it's the second year in a row for us. Last year was exciting and funny, and this year was even more unexpected. I really didn't think we'd get it 2 years in a row, and the reason is, if you look back at the history of that award, and it's, it may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but if you're in the music industry and you're from Detroit, it's pretty darn big. People like Aretha Franklin, Kirk Franklin, the Winans, the Clark sisters, there were some what I consider more traditional gospel artists that won this award year after year after year. And the fact that, we were nominated, and here you've got these classic, which is my code name for how old we are, is you have these classic rockers up there in being nominated, was a hoot. We just got a kick out of it. And then last year when we won, there was a Three Stooges event that went on as we were up in the upper balcony trying to get down to the stage, which is pretty funny. This year we decided, well, we're up for it. Let's just get a table closer just in case we get it. But we just kind of sat there just going, this is just fun. Once again, here we are. And all of a sudden when they called our names, we just looked at each other and said, I really couldn't believe it. We got up there and we got on stage and I raised that thing, and it was just, here's to God. What a sense of humor. It was a blessing, but just, I couldn't believe it. So I guess that's just a little bit of reiteration, or a little bit of good boy from God saying, what you're doing is all right. What you're doing is making a difference for somebody. And maybe it's only one somebody, but if that's that one soul that God needs to get to heaven that we got, then we win. If it's bigger and bigger because of what we're doing, that's amazing. But I don't take anything for granted, and I don't take a whole lot too seriously. But getting those awards has just put a smile on our heart and in our soul, and we just kind of go, can we do it again? I don't know. We don't do it for the awards, but it is kind of sweet getting one.